when I was a kid, and I think most people who are old like me, you know, some of you kids won't remember this, but I mean, you always had an art teacher and a music teacher. You could be in the poorest school district in the world. Now, I'm not saying music was always exciting, right? I mean, sometimes, you know, to music, everybody had access to art. And the reason is because people understood, even though they hadn't done the scientific research back then, we have done now, that children who learn music actually do better in math. Kids whose imaginations are sparked by the arts are more engaged in school. So these things aren't just extras, they are part of a well-rounded education.
With music, you open up the mind of a child in a very special way. Different from drama, different from dance, different from visual arts. There was a movement which said all the arts work the same way. When we went through the touchy-feely 60s. That is simply not true. The arts function in different ways, and music, in my view, is at the top of the food chain. The drama people tend not to agree with me on that, but I also put dance in there. But what I want to say is that the power of the creative thought transferred from music to all other areas of learning is hugely potent. The evidence, the neurological evidence for music is in a spectacular way. That's a bonus. Music is worth teaching for its own sake. It is worth teaching because it is good. It is worth teaching because it is unique. It is worth teaching because it empowers children spectacularly. And when you get a 5th grade boy who comes up with a piece of music and says, look, I made this myself, with that sort of threat, you know it's working. Thank you.
So the number one reason to teach music in schools is there are a lot of students for whom that's the pathway to opening them up to the idea of learning in the first place. So when you practice an instrument every day, it gives you discipline. When you play in an ensemble, you learn to work with other people. When you learn to read music, you're learning a new language, and every language you learn makes the next one you learn easier. You get tapped into these deep traditions like the jazz tradition or the European classical music tradition that make you interested in the history. Like, where did the blues come from? Suddenly, American history is interesting to me. What was Bach all about? Well, suddenly, Europe 300, 400 years ago is interesting to me. So I think number one, it's a very useful tool for helping everyone feel connected to their history and have some motivation for learning.